Karoline Leavitt just shared an emotional moment that has everyone talking. In a heartfelt announcement, the youngest White House press secretary revealed something deeply personal about her husband. The news came as a surprise, leaving many eager to know more. Leavitt, known for her strong presence and determination, showed a vulnerable side that touched her supporters. As she spoke, her emotions were raw, making it clear that this wasn't just any ordinary update. It was something that truly mattered to her. The announcement has sparked curiosity, with people wondering what's next for her and her husband. Whether it's a big life change, a personal challenge, or something unexpected, one thing is certain: this news is significant. With emotions running high, Leavitt's words have left a lasting impact, and everyone is eager to learn more about what she revealed. Stay tuned for the full story. How she became a prominent conservative voice at a young age. Karoline Leavitt is one of the fastest rising stars in conservative politics. At just 27 years old, she's already made a name for herself as a bold and outspoken figure in the Republican Party. Her journey, from growing up in New Hampshire to working in the White House and running for Congress, has been nothing short of remarkable. So how did she get here? Let's take a look at how she became a prominent conservative voice at such a young age. Karoline Leavitt was born and raised in Atkinson, New Hampshire, in a family that valued hard work and conservative principles. She often talks about how her upbringing shaped her beliefs, emphasizing personal responsibility, limited government, and the importance of free speech. From a young age, she was interested in politics and was passionate about standing up for what she believed in. She attended St. Anselm College, where she studied politics and communications. Even in college, she was vocal about her conservative views, which wasn't always easy in an environment where many students leaned liberal. But that didn't stop her. Instead, it motivated her to get more involved. After college, Karoline wasted no time diving into the political world. She landed a job in President Donald Trump's administration, working as a writer and assistant press secretary. This was a huge opportunity for someone so young, and she took full advantage of it. Working under then-press secretary Kayleigh McEnany, Karoline learned how to handle the media, craft strong messaging, and push back against what she saw as biased coverage from mainstream news outlets. She quickly became known as a fierce defender of Trump's policies and a strong communicator for conservative values. During her time in the White House, she became a key figure in pushing back against big tech censorship, arguing that social media companies were unfairly silencing conservative voices. This issue became one of her signature talking points and helped her build a following among young conservatives who felt the same way. After her time in the Trump administration, Karoline decided she wanted to make an even bigger impact. In 2022, at just 24 years old, she announced she was running for Congress in New Hampshire's 1st congressional district. This was a bold move. She was up against more experienced politicians, and some critics dismissed her because of her age. But Karoline didn't back down. She ran a campaign based on strong conservative principles, supporting lower taxes, securing the border, protecting free speech, and standing up for law enforcement. She also focused on connecting with everyday people. Whether it was small business owners struggling with government regulations or parents concerned about education policies, Karoline positioned herself as a fighter for working-class Americans. Her campaign gained national attention, and she received endorsements from top conservative figures, including House Republican leaders and Trump allies. She made it clear that she was not afraid to challenge the establishment, and that made her a favorite among grassroots conservatives. As Karoline's profile grew, so did the backlash. Liberal media outlets and her political opponents often criticized her for being too extreme or too loyal to Trump. Some tried to paint her as inexperienced, while others attacked her views on issues like election integrity and free speech, from press secretary to politician. Karoline Leavitt's journey from serving as a press assistant in the Trump administration to launching her own congressional campaign is a testament to her dedication and ambition in the political arena. Born on August 24, 1997, in Atkinson, New Hampshire, Leavitt's early years were steeped in community and hard work. Her family owned a local ice cream stand and a used truck dealership, instilling in her the values of entrepreneurship and service. Leavitt attended Central Catholic High School in Lawrence, Massachusetts, graduating in 2015. She then pursued higher education at St. Anselm College in Manchester, New Hampshire, on a softball scholarship. There, she majored in politics and communication, earning her Bachelor of Arts degree in 2019. During her college years, Leavitt interned at Fox News, gaining valuable media experience. The summer before her senior year, she interned as a writer in the White House Office of Presidential Correspondence under President Donald Trump's administration. This experience paved the way for her post-graduation role as a presidential writer, and later as an assistant press secretary under Kayleigh McEnany. After the conclusion of Trump's first term, Leavitt transitioned to Capitol Hill, serving as the communications director for Representative Elise Stefanik of New York. This role further honed her skills in political communication and strategy. In June 2021, Leavitt announced her candidacy for New Hampshire's 1st congressional district. Her campaign quickly gained attention, particularly due to her age and her alignment with Trump's policies. She positioned herself as a staunch conservative, advocating for limited government, strong border security, and support for law enforcement. The Republican primary in September 2022 was highly competitive. Leavitt faced Matt Mowers, another former Trump administration staffer. Despite being considered an underdog, Leavitt secured a surprise victory, becoming the second member of Generation Z to win a congressional primary. In the general election held in November 2022, Leavitt faced incumbent Democrat Chris Pappas. Despite a vigorous campaign, she was defeated by an 8 percentage point margin. Following her congressional bid, Leavitt remained active in politics. In January 2024, she accepted the role of National Press Secretary for Donald Trump's 2024 presidential campaign. Her responsibilities included shaping campaign messaging and serving as a prominent spokesperson. On November 15, 2024, President-elect Trump announced Leavitt as his choice for White House press secretary, making her the youngest individual to hold the position. She officially assumed office on January 20, 2025. Accusations of fake Christianity. On February 8, 2025, Karoline Leavitt found herself at the center of a controversy after freshman Representative Dave Min accused her of being a fake Christian on social media. This accusation came as a shock to many, especially given Leavitt's well-known public display of her Christian faith. Throughout her political career, Leavitt has consistently spoken about her faith, making it a core aspect of her personal and professional identity. So, when Min made the accusation, it struck a nerve. The accusation of being a fake Christian is a serious one, particularly for someone like Leavitt, who has always emphasized the importance of her faith in her public life. To be accused of something so fundamental to her identity was not only hurtful, but also felt out of place, especially coming from a fellow representative. Min's remark came without any context or explanation, and many were left wondering what prompted such a statement. In her response, Leavitt didn't shy away from defending her faith. She took to social media to criticize Min for making such a judgmental comment without having ever met her or understanding her personal journey with Christianity. Leavitt pointed out that faith is a deeply personal matter, and it was unfair for men to make sweeping assumptions about her beliefs without knowing her story. She also emphasized that her Christian faith isn't something she just displays for the sake of appearances. It is central to who she is, guiding her decisions and actions in both her personal life and political career. Leavitt's response was calm but firm. She expressed her disappointment that someone would question the sincerity of her faith, especially in the public eye, where such accusations can quickly spiral out of control. In a follow-up statement, she reminded her followers that faith is not for others to define, but a personal relationship with God that no one else can dictate. The incident sparked a larger conversation about the way faith is perceived and discussed in politics. Many people expressed support for Leavitt, applauding her for responding with grace and conviction. Her followers and fellow Christians rallied behind her, emphasizing that faith is often misunderstood or misrepresented, especially in the hyper-political environment. On the other hand, some criticized men for what they saw as an unprovoked attack on Leavitt's character, suggesting that his remarks were an attempt to undermine her credibility. Jim Acosta's remarks. On February 19, 2025, former CNN anchor Jim Acosta made headlines after comparing Karoline Leavitt to a child telling a tall tale, accusing her of dishonesty. This remark quickly sparked a wave of backlash, particularly from supporters of former President Donald Trump. The comment highlighted the intense political divide in the media and the growing animosity between figures like Acosta and those aligned with Trump's movement. Acosta, known for his outspoken views and clashes with the Trump administration during his time at CNN, has never shied away from controversy. His comment about Leavitt was no exception. In his remarks, Acosta accused the rising conservative voice of fabricating stories or exaggerating the truth, painting her as untrustworthy. He likened her behavior to that of a child making up exaggerated stories, implying that her statements lacked credibility and were not grounded in reality. For those who support Leavitt and her political agenda, Acosta's comparison was seen as an unfair and dismissive attack. Trump's supporters were quick to fire back, calling Acosta hypocritical and irrelevant. They argued that Acosta, a figure known for his confrontational relationship with Trump and his team, had no room to criticize others for dishonesty. Many of Leavitt's supporters viewed Acosta's remark as a reflection of the broader media bias against conservative figures, and they didn't take kindly to the personal nature of his criticism. Acosta's comment stung because Leavitt has worked hard to establish herself as a serious political figure. As a former press secretary in the Trump administration, she is no stranger to tough situations and criticism. But for her, the accusation of dishonesty was not just a political jab, it was an attack on her integrity. Leavitt is known for being outspoken about her views, but she has always stood by the truth in her statements, even when those views are controversial. Her supporters believed that Acosta's remarks were an attempt to undermine her credibility, especially as she was building momentum in her political career. The backlash against Acosta was swift and loud. Many on social media voiced their disapproval, calling out Acosta for using infantilizing language and questioning his credibility as a journalist. Trump's supporters took particular offense to Acosta's critique, with some labeling him as irrelevant in today's political landscape. They argued that his days as a prominent CNN anchor were behind him, and his opinion now carried little weight in comparison to the voices of people like Leavitt, who were rising in the ranks of conservative politics. The phrase, "telling a tall tale," was particularly problematic for many because it implied that Leavitt was engaging in childish behavior. Criticism of journalists. On March 1, 2025, Karoline Leavitt made waves during her appearance on the popular Ruthless podcast, where she didn't hold back in expressing her frustration with the media. In a candid moment, she referred to some journalists as a-holes and mocked their dependence on what she called so-called experts. This remark quickly caught the attention of both her supporters and critics, sparking a heated discussion about her stance on the press and journalism in general. Leavitt, a rising conservative voice in the political arena, has been no stranger to media attention. However, her comments on the podcast revealed a deeper frustration with certain journalistic practices. As a former press secretary in the Trump administration, she's had her fair share of encounters with the media, and it's clear that some of those experiences left her with a sour taste. On the podcast, she didn't mince words, criticizing journalists she believes are more interested in pushing narratives than reporting the truth. Her comments about journalists being a-holes weren't just a passing insult. They reflected her broader disdain for what she sees as a biased media that often favors one side of the political spectrum. Leavitt has long been an outspoken critic of the mainstream press, which she believes distorts facts to fit certain political agendas. In particular, she singled out reporters who rely on experts, often people with strong political affiliations or biases, without doing their own due diligence. The mention of so-called experts particularly stood out. Leavitt argued that many journalists defer too easily to these experts, who sometimes lack credibility or have an inherent bias. She pointed out that these experts often shape the narratives that dominate the news cycle, influencing public opinion based on their own political leanings. Of course, Leavitt's remarks didn't go unnoticed, and they quickly sparked a mix of reactions. Her supporters applauded her bluntness and willingness to speak out against a system they feel often gets it wrong. On the other hand, her critics were quick to accuse her of attacking the press and undermining the credibility of journalists. Some felt that her remarks were an attempt to delegitimize any media outlet or reporter that disagreed with her political views. Critics argued that Leavitt was using the same tactics that other politicians have used, discrediting the press when it doesn't serve their narrative. They also pointed out that calling journalists a-holes was an unprofessional way of addressing serious concerns about media practices, suggesting that she was more interested in slinging insults than engaging in a constructive conversation about improving journalism. Heated exchange over tariffs. On March 11, 2025, a heated exchange took place between Karoline Leavitt and Associated Press reporter Josh Boak during a press briefing, making headlines for its intensity. The topic of the exchange was President Trump's tariff policies, which had been a central point of discussion during his administration. Boak, known for his tough questioning, pressed Leavitt on whether she had ever personally paid a tariff, a question that seemed to catch her off guard and quickly escalated the tension in the room. Tariffs, which are essentially taxes on imported goods, had been a key tool in Trump's trade policy aimed at addressing trade imbalances and protecting American industries. However, they were also a point of contention, particularly among those who argued that the costs of tariffs are often passed down to consumers and businesses rather than foreign countries. This was the crux of Boak's question, which implied that tariffs, while levied on foreign goods, ultimately affect American businesses and individuals who import those goods. The question seemed to suggest that tariffs may not be as straightforward as they were sometimes portrayed. Leavitt, known for her outspoken and confident style, did not take kindly to Boak's question. Her response was quick and defensive, signaling that she took the question as an insult rather than an inquiry. She emphasized that while tariffs might impact importers, the administration's stance on them was part of a larger strategy to level the playing field in global trade. Leavitt explained that tariffs were not just a tax on goods, but a tool to counter unfair trade practices by foreign countries, particularly China. She was firm in defending the administration's policies, which she believed were aimed at protecting American workers and industries from being undercut by cheaper foreign goods produced through unfair practices. The exchange became tense as Leavitt pushed back against Boak's line of questioning, reiterating that the tariffs were part of a broader economic strategy that prioritized the long-term benefits for the American economy. She pointed out that Trump's approach was about making sure foreign countries paid their fair share and that American industries weren't unfairly disadvantaged. Leavitt argued that the tariffs were designed to encourage better trade deals and bring more manufacturing jobs back to the United States. Boak, on the other hand, didn't back down. He continued to press Leavitt on the specifics of how tariffs affected American consumers, noting that many of the products targeted by tariffs were everyday goods that ordinary people rely on. He asked her if she understood the financial burden these tariffs placed on individuals and businesses that were importing products. The tension grew as both sides dug in their heels, with Leavitt defending the policy and Boak questioning its real-world impact. Leavitt's defenders saw her as standing strong in the face of challenging questions and sticking to the administration's economic principles. They praised her for articulating the administration's position on tariffs and trade in a clear and direct way. Her supporters also noted that she was right to defend a policy that she believed was in the best interest of American workers, even if it meant taking on the media. On the other hand, Boak's supporters argued that his questioning was legitimate and important. They believed that asking about the impact of tariffs on consumers was a valid line of inquiry, especially as the Trump administration had frequently emphasized the supposed benefits of its trade policies. Critics of the administration often pointed out the negative effects tariffs had on the cost of goods for everyday Americans, particularly those in industries that relied heavily on imports. From campaign trail to marriage, Karoline Leavitt, known for her sharp political career, has made headlines not just for her work in the Trump administration, but also for her personal life. One of the most talked-about moments was her engagement to Nicholas Riccio, a real estate developer from Hudson, New Hampshire. The announcement of their engagement turned heads, especially due to the 32-year age gap between them. The couple's relationship blossomed over time, but it wasn't without its challenges and public scrutiny, particularly due to the significant difference in their ages. Riccio, a successful businessman with decades of experience, is more than 3 decades older than Leavitt. This age gap made waves in the media, with many curious about how the two, from different stages in life, found common ground. But Karoline has been open and candid about their connection, addressing the age difference with maturity and confidence. They met during Leavitt's congressional campaign, and despite the initial surprise about their age difference, the connection was undeniable. While some people were skeptical about their relationship, Leavitt and Riccio's bond only grew stronger. They got engaged in December 2023, and the news was met with support from friends, family, and even some political circles who were excited to see the couple take this big step in their lives. In interviews, Leavitt has described Riccio as her rock, someone who offers unwavering support and shares her values on life, family, and the future. They complement each other, with Riccio offering a grounded perspective and wisdom gained from years of experience, while Leavitt brings her youthful energy, ambition, and drive to their partnership. In July 2024, the couple took their relationship to the next level with the birth of their son, Nicholas Robert Riccio, affectionately known as Nico. The birth of their child further solidified their commitment to each other and added a new layer to their growing family. Karoline Leavitt and Nicholas Riccio took another significant step in their relationship when they married in January 2025. The ceremony, held in New Hampshire, was a beautiful celebration of their love and commitment to each other. It marked the culmination of their engagement, which had gained attention due to their 32-year age difference. Public perception and media scrutiny. When Karoline Leavitt, and Nicholas Riccio announced their engagement, their 32-year age difference quickly became a focal point for the media. While the couple was excited to share their news, they soon found themselves at the center of public scrutiny. The media's focus on their age gap sparked numerous discussions about societal norms, personal choices, and what is considered acceptable in relationships. For many, the age difference between the couple was seen as unconventional. Society often places strict expectations on romantic relationships, and age gaps, especially ones as significant as theirs, can sometimes be met with skepticism or judgment. The media's attention on their relationship amplified these societal pressures, with some outlets questioning how well the couple could truly connect given their differences in age and life experience. However, for Karoline and Nicholas, the attention wasn't something they sought, but rather something that came with their high-profile engagement. It wasn't long before people began commenting on their age difference, with some offering support and others voicing concerns. The scrutiny was particularly intense because of Karoline's political career, with her being in the public eye due to her rising prominence as a young conservative voice. For many, age gaps in relationships are seen as a taboo topic. Couples with a noticeable age difference often face stereotypes or assumptions about their motivations and compatibility. Critics may assume that the younger partner is after money, status, or influence, while others may suggest that the older partner is seeking to relive their youth. Such assumptions, however, often overlook the depth of individual relationships and the unique connections that can form between two people. In the case of Karoline and Nicholas, the couple addressed the age gap head-on, making it clear that their relationship wasn't defined by numbers. In interviews, Karoline explained that their connection wasn't about their ages, but rather about the love, respect, and shared values they both brought to the table. She emphasized that true compatibility isn't based on age. It's about mutual understanding, communication, and shared goals. While the media focused heavily on their age gap, Karoline and Nicholas also received a lot of support. Many people were quick to express their admiration for the couple, particularly for their ability to navigate the scrutiny with grace. In the face of public commentary, they both remained committed to their love story and didn't let the negative attention overshadow their happiness. Shocking revelation about Karoline Leavitt's husband. Nicholas Riccio's journey is nothing short of inspiring. From facing the harsh reality of homelessness to becoming a successful real estate developer, his life story adds depth to his narrative and is a testament to the power of resilience and determination. Riccio's early life was far from easy. Growing up in challenging circumstances, he faced the kind of hardships that many people would struggle to overcome. But it was in these tough times that he began to develop the inner strength and drive that would ultimately shape his future. At one point, Riccio found himself homeless, with no permanent place to stay and no clear path forward. It was a time of uncertainty and adversity, but instead of giving in to despair, he used it as a stepping stone to push himself toward a better life. During his time on the streets, Riccio did what many might consider unthinkable. He didn't let his circumstances define him. Instead, he focused on developing the skills that would eventually lead him to success. Through hard work, perseverance, and a relentless pursuit of a better future, Riccio began to build the foundation for his career. While most people in his position might have struggled to find their way out of homelessness, Riccio's focus on personal growth kept him moving forward. One of the key turning points in Riccio's story came when he decided to pursue a career in real estate. Recognizing that the industry offered a path to financial stability and personal success, he started small. His journey into real estate wasn't easy. It required learning the ins and outs of the market, building connections, and proving himself time and again. But his drive to succeed kept him focused, And over time, Riccio began to make his mark. As he climbed the ranks in the real estate world, Riccio faced numerous obstacles. The road to success in real estate can be incredibly competitive, and Riccio had to work harder than most to earn his place. However, his past experiences with adversity gave him a unique perspective and a deep sense of determination that many others lacked. Instead of letting setbacks slow him down, Riccio used them as fuel to push himself even harder.